So Bernie Sanders, the old commie, just doesn't like babies. No, really, he doesn't like babies, even the ones that are for him. So at a campaign event in New Hampshire, a baby began to make it known that going to a Bernie Sanders event just kind of like wasn't their thing. Now, I don't know if the baby needed a diaper, needed a nap, needed a bottle, but it began to make its presence known. And Bernie turns and basically says, "Hey, make that kid shut up, will you?"
Did I hear you correctly say that you have to cut your pills in half for your son? Okay. If we could keep that down a little bit. Okay, thanks.
Now, there's really only two reasons that I'm dealing with this. Number one, Bernie Sanders the other night in that 7-hour TV marathon that CNN, I forgot to call them by their new official name, Airport Terminal TV, that 7-hour presidential town hall where this dingbat woman stands up. "Mr. Bernie Sanders, you do know that all of this global warming and climate change is brought about by the fact that we've got too big of a population on our planet, and what are we going to do?" And so Bernie, made the obligatory, never-ending commitment to, abortion, murder of the innocent infant on demand. So, he got a nice little round of applause for that. Then he's gone on now to say that we are going to have to seriously understand that not only we are overpopulated, but because of that overpopulation, we've got just too many farm animals out there, flatulating. Again, taking a lead from AOC and the anti-farting cows. Bernie Sanders actually said we got to cut down on livestock because we got too many people to feed. So the best way to cut down on the livestock so that we cut down on the, greenhouse gas emissions, farting cows, that would be. If there were less people to feed, we wouldn't need all these cows. So if we don't have farting cows, we don't have greenhouse gas, and we can save the planet. So then he went on to say there needs to be population control in third world countries. Now, the real roots of abortion, the real roots of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, when she introduced the whole concept of family planning and not bringing unwanted children into the world, she was not talking about it in the context that young people and young girls that think they have this never-ending right to abortion because it's my body, but that's a real life in your body. If you didn't want that real life in your body, don't engage in the activity that puts it there. Or if you're going to engage in the activity that puts it there, take precautions. And none of those precautions are 100% foolproof. And if it ends up that you end up with a life in you, that life has rights. That life should not, under any circumstances, just on a whim or the feeling of guilt or this is an inconvenience, be terminated. If it's that much of an inconvenience, put the child up for adoption. After all, AOC already told us she's not going to have any children of her own. She wants to adopt. That's kind of funny, seeing as how her whole political ideology is all about abort, 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 and then be Alyssa Milano, brag about killing your kids so that you could have a TV movie career. Woohoo! Yeah, there we go. That's the progressive left. These people are insane, they're dangerous, they're psychotic, and they're homicidal. And yet, we somehow think that we have to give them credence out of what comes out of their mouth. That all said, so old Bernie talking about the fact that we need to now have forced abortions in third world countries so that we can keep the population down, so that we can keep food consumption down, so that we can, thin out the livestock and not have as many farting cows, and that way we can save the planet. You do understand that on one level, this is insane. And on another level, this is the old commissar himself revealing to you that old Soviets, yeah, they're like old dogs. You can't teach them new tricks. They repackage it. They can call it democratic socialism or whatever hip, cool buzzword they think will collect with the non-thinking millennials and youth vote. But at the end of the day, this is all about control. Not simply population control, you control. They want to control you. What you do, where you go, what you think, what you can say, can't say, what you can post, what you can view. They want control. Period. And that's what old Bernie boy is about. But nonetheless, here's this squawking baby, and he turns and he says, oh, can we take care of that? Take care of that. Now, on one level, I get it, and I've been there. I'm a pastor. There are times there have been screaming children in wedding ceremonies, in church services. There's always a part of me that wonders, why would a parent bring an infant to a wedding? The infant is never going to remember the wedding, but just about every guest at that wedding is going to remember that infant. Why would you subject people to that? Why would you put the bride through that, who's already nervous and on pins and needles, wanting everything to be perfect? Why would you want that in their wedding video? You know, how unliberal progressive is that? Oh, wait a minute, it is liberal progressive. I want my child there, and I want everyone else to experience my child. Thank you. Now, taking an infant to church, well, there are these things at church called nurseries. We provide child care. And sometimes there are these mothers that just think the child can't be away from them for more than, like, never. So they don't take the child to the nursery. And I have to be honest with you, there have been times where a child has really gotten super fussy during a service, and I have politely said, we do have nurseries available, and one of the ushers would be happy to show you where that nursery is. I'm really not all that upset that Bernie turned and told her, oh, can we please take care of that? It was obviously a small venue. It isn't like Bernie packs them in. It was obviously a small room. There probably weren't maybe 20, 30 people in that room, which, why would you take a baby to a Bernie Sanders campaign event? Shoot, for that matter, why would you take a baby to any campaign event, no matter who the candidate? The reason I bring this up, he does come off like the old curmudgeon. Hey, get that brat out of here. We're talking about the important stuff here. But if this had been Donald Trump, if Donald Trump had turned to a mother and said, could you please take care of that, referring to that brat, the mainstream lying legacy corporate corrupt media would have jumped him in a nanosecond. This would have been an endless loops on CNN, Oops, Airport Terminal TV, PMS, NBC. Chris Hayes would have had a special town hall meeting over how barbaric and mean is Trump. Bernie Sanders is already out there saying, you know, Donald Trump calling Joe Biden crazy. Ha ha. Pot, meat, kettle. There's a man who's totally crazy and incapable of ever telling the truth, and that's all Donald Trump. Really? Did you see the rebound on Wall Street today, Bern? Been paying attention to that? You guys trying to concoct that fake manufactured recession, and Wall Street's rebounding. Why? Because China wants to talk. I told you a couple of weeks ago, China needs our stuff more than we need theirs. They do have a lot of people to feed, and we got food, and a lot of it. So you watch, the president is going to win this trade war. And when he does, Democrats are going to explode because they are hoping to take into the 2020 election cycle, since they're short on ideas, insane individuals running, they wanted to be able to make the economy an issue. Oh, it'll be an issue, all right. It's going to really be rocking and rolling once China basically rolls over and says, Mr. President, whatever you want, but we need corn, we need pork, whatever you want, you can have it. Boom, bada bada bing, boom, done. But Bernie, with this, told that miserable old brat to be quiet. Now, that's not what he said. Now I'm taking it out of context, and so are a lot of other conservative media individuals. But the truth is, if Trump had said anything about a squawking baby, they would have had endless coverage on cable news, and they would have had panels, and they would have had doctors talking about Donald Trump and his aggressiveness now even toward infants. It would have been nonstop ad nauseum. And you liberals that are watching me right now, you got to kind of know, that's kind of how it'd be covered. No, not kind of, it would be covered that way. Can I tell you, though, personally, I think if there was a crying baby like that at a Trump event, well, first of all, the events are so huge, you would never hear the baby. But let's say there was one on the platform. Maybe they had a mother go up there holding her baby in the crowd that sits behind him for the cameras. And maybe the baby got fussing. Now, I can tell you that at a Trump rally, a conservative mom is a conscientious mom, and she would have immediately started to make her way to the aisle to remove the child. President Trump would have turned around and had some fun. No. Don't take the child out. That's just baby talk for go Trump. That's just baby talk for make America great again, Mr. President. He would have had fun with it. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, get that brat out of here. And that's exactly the way it came across, because at his core, well, at the Democrat core, they don't really like kids. This is why so many of them are accused of pedophilia. This is why so many of them violate children. This is why they don't care to actually reach into a womb and rip a child out and kill it. And now you're going to throw them out of your campaign events. There's a message. There's a great visual for America. Well, that's just a little Friday for fun kind of a rant. Hey, thanks for liking us, and I am reading your comments, and yes, I am well aware that YouTube does everything they can to suppress this channel. You saw yesterday, I got an official definition of global warming because apparently I wasn't reverent enough with the topic, and they had to put an official disclaimer in the front of my video. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate how you're looking out for me and my viewers and my subscribers that you keep stealing and deleting. Thank you for that. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks for having my back. And I appreciate some of you who've said, you ought to be on BitChute and you ought to be... And I'm not against any of these other platforms. The truth is this. I don't have time to place this video in all kinds of places. I just don't. I am a full-time senior pastor. I preach twice a week. I conduct youth activities, and I do just a myriad of things, as well as a daily talk radio show, and I have a syndicated oldies radio show that is heard on stations around the country as well as Canada. So making these videos is time-consuming enough. I am a staff of one when it comes to this aspect of my life and media. So I do appreciate you wanting me to get onto other platforms. Right now, time just simply prevents that, but I do appreciate. Please do all you can to give us a like. Spread this channel where you can. I thank you. I appreciate you. Make sure you smack the bell for my next rant.